What's up, everybody? My name is Key Air, and you are watching The Important Things That Really Matter. Today, we're going to be talking about, You Already Met Your Husband, Part 2. You Already Met Your Husband, Part 2. Now, one of the things I like to tell you, which is extremely important that you ladies need to go back and take a look at, is that you need to go back and look at my video series, which talks about women who picked the wrong men. Part 1, women who picked the wrong men. Part 2, women who picked the wrong men. Part 3, Part 4, Part 5, women who picked the wrong men. Part 6, and I think also to Part 7. So, after you take a look at this video series, which is only like 2 videos, basically talking about You Already Met Your Husband, make sure you go back and look at my video series, which talks about women who picked the wrong men, parts 1 through 7. All right, I'm going to start off by telling you the story about how you missed your husband. You already met your husband. Your girlfriends, older aunts, older women have probably caused you to miss out on your husband already, which primarily would have been in your 20s. Okay, you got it? All right, so let me tell you a little story, and I'm going to show you how a lot of women end up causing other women to miss out on their husbands. This is extremely important, so you need to listen to this whole video all the way, look at and watch this video all the way to the end, then go back and look at part 1 of You Already Met Your Husband, and then go through the entire video series talking about women who picked the wrong men. You need to watch these series, okay? So let me tell you about this particular individual that I know. This is one of my relatives. There was one of my relatives, a nice looking woman, and there was this guy that loved her and wanted to marry her. This guy, let me describe what the guy looked like. The guy was a tall, dark, handsome brother. Tall, dark, handsome black man. Nicely built, well-dressed. I am personally 6 feet 2 inches tall. This brother had to be 6 feet 7 inches tall or 6 feet 8 inches tall. You hear me? Okay. Nice looking brother, tall, dark, handsome, well built, had a good paying job, loved my relative, okay? Loved her. I mean, loved her. Asked her to marry him. All right. So let me tell you what ended up happening. So he asked her to marry him. They get married. My relative, who is a female, of course a female, she started living like she's still single instead of now that she's married. So instead of my relative going home and taking care of her brand new husband and making sure that he has food to eat and making sure that she's making good love to him and making sure that that he is recharged to go back out there and fight the world again to bring that check home again, instead of her doing that, she kept on running the streets like she was single. And so what ended up happening was her girlfriends kept her out in the street. See, what a lot of you ladies do not realize is that many times your girlfriends or older women are jealous of you. They're jealous because somebody decided to take the chance and marry you instead of taking a chance and marry one of them. And so many times older ladies will give you bad advice. Your girlfriends will give you bad advice because they're jealous of the fact that somebody asked to marry you, or that some guy wanted to have a relationship with you instead of having a relationship with them. Do you follow what I'm saying? So soon as my female relative got married to this guy who had all these good things going for him, including a nice paying job, her girlfriends kept her out in the street. So how did they keep her out in the street? They're like, girl, come on, forget about him, girl. We're gonna go have fun. We're gonna go have fun. We're gonna go have fun. We're going to go and have fun. But see, the girlfriends knew what they were doing. They knew by keeping her out in the street, it was gonna cause a lot of problems in her marriage. Let me say that again. This woman's girlfriends knew that by keeping her out in the street, it was gonna cause her husband a lot of problems, her marriage a lot of problems, because instead of her attending to her husband, she was attending her girlfriends out in the street, okay? So you need to keep that in mind. A lot of times your girlfriends are jealous because you're in a relationship with somebody and might even be in a real good relationship with somebody. Or you might be married to somebody and your girlfriends have always been jealous of you. Okay, so they kept this woman out in the street. So the brother was so upset and so angry about the fact that his wife, brand new wife, is still out in the street instead of staying home and taking care of him while he loves her and bringing the money home for him. Well, let me tell you what ended up happening. So this brother goes to this woman's mother, one of my relatives. He goes to the woman's mother, says, ma'am, I just married your daughter. Would you please talk to her? She's always wants to be in the street instead of coming home and taking care of me. So he talks to her mother. Would you please talk to her? Talks to her mother again. Would you please talk to her, your daughter again? Talks to her mother again. Would you please talk to your daughter, please? She's supposed to be taking care of me. I'm her husband. This is what he's telling her. And let me say fair use, fair use, fair use. The woman, my relative, tells her brand new husband, I do what I want to do. If I want to run the street and be in the street, I'll be in the street. Don't nobody tell me what to do. The only person tell me what to do is my father. So she kept her butt out in the street. But in actuality, her girlfriends kept her out in the street, which caused her all types of problems in her marriage. She stayed out in the street. It frustrated her husband to no ends. It got to the point where they had separated from each other. I do believe they got separated from each other. And let me tell you what this man did. He was so pissed off about the fact that his wife did not want to do her job and look after him, cook for him, keep the house clean, look after him. The man's bringing his money home. He wasn't out in the street spending that in those strip clubs or nothing like that, or blowing it on gambling or some numbers or some crazy stuff like that, or some drugs or nothing. He wasn't doing none of that. He was doing right by her. But her girlfriends kept her in the street because they were jealous of her. But anyway, they separated. So let me tell you what happened. While my female relative was out in the street with her girlfriends, one by one, her girlfriends met a man. And one by one, her girlfriends started disappearing from running the street. And so one day, my female relative was out in the street with one of her girlfriends. Her girlfriend said, girl, I got a man now, so I got to go home and take care of him. I got to go home and cook for him and feed him and do whatever else he needs me to do for him. I got a man, so I got to go home and look after him and take care of him. And so I can't be staying out in these streets. But see, these are the same women. These are the same women that had her out in the street and caused her marriage to fail because they kept her in the streets. Instead of her using her brain and saying, I got a man that's paying my bills, I got a man that loves me, that cares for me, that looks after me, I'm going to go home and look after him and take care of him. She didn't do that. But all of her girlfriends, once they found the man, they stopped running the street. They went home and took care of their men. So what ended up happening is my female relative found that she was the only one out in the street because all her girlfriends now had men and they were running home real quick to take care of their men. You follow what I'm saying? So anyway, my female relative goes back and calls her ex-husband, tries to get back with him. Well, she's trying to get back with him now because all her girlfriends have found men and they don't want to stay out in the street with her. They want to go home and take care of their men like they're supposed to, like she should have did. So anyway, she goes home, starts trying to get back with her ex-husband. They start getting along for a while, but guess what ended up happening? My man died on her. Just died. Probably died to a lot of the stress that she was putting him up under. Probably died from a lot of the stress that she was putting him up under. Okay? Because this man really loved her. But she wouldn't come home. Had to go to her mother numerous times to talk to her daughter. Well, anyway, what ended up happening was the guy died. I went to the funeral. This woman, my female relative, was crying and boohooing at the funeral, crying and boohooing. But I found out she was doing a lot more crying over, more than just crying over the fact that her ex-husband had died. She was crying about the fact that she wasn't acting right. She wasn't taking care of her husband like she was supposed to. And because my female relative was not taking care of her husband like she was supposed to and was keeping her butt out in the street because of her girlfriends, what ended up happening was her husband got mad, had an insurance policy, $100,000 insurance policy with my female relative's name written at the bottom of the insurance policy. $100,000. Well, guess what? Guess what happened? Since my female relative decided to keep her butt out in the street because of her girlfriends, my man came home one day, got tired of dealing with her behind, pulled out that $100,000 insurance policy and nicely erased her name off of the $100,000 insurance policy. After he erased her name, he put his son's name on this insurance policy, which was a $100,000 insurance policy. When he died, that $100,000 that she thought she was going to get, she didn't get. She realized that she wasn't going to get that $100,000 life insurance policy because she was out there in the streets. So, since she was out there in the streets, her husband erased her name off that insurance policy and put his son's name on the $100,000 insurance policy. So she not only lost him as a husband, primarily probably because of the fact that she was stressing him out, number one, and number two, she missed out on $100,000, which she can thank her girlfriends for keeping her out in the street. She can thank her girlfriends for keeping her out in the street, who were more than likely jealous of the fact that she had somebody that married her and nobody wanted to marry them, even though they had men right now. So this is very important for you to know. To listen to this whole story, you can learn a whole lot on how your girlfriends, how your aunties, and even how your mother can cause you to miss out on your husband. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please hit the notification bell. Don't forget to go back and look at the video series that talks about women that picked the wrong man. And peace.